Hey there, friends. Yeah, it's Weather Impact Live. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. Today, got a lot to talk to you about. We're talking about an overnight tornado outbreak across parts of the Midwest. Not on the first coast here in Jacksonville, Florida, where we're streaming from, but yeah, off towards the north, some severe weather. But that weather will eventually make its way towards southeast Georgia, northeast Florida as we go ahead into our Thursday. I'll talk about that as well and what that means for the players. Of course, the massive golf tournament taking place here on the first coast. And will it rain for that? That's the big question, right? And here, Marth. I can't apparently spell today. Very serious topic, though. It is the March 11th tsunami and earthquake in Japan anniversary. It was 15 years ago today. And on that note, I'll also talk about the last time the state of Florida was hit by an earthquake, or excuse me, a tsunami specifically, at least measurable near and around the first coast. It did happen once in the past century. So I'll talk about when that happened too. So a little bit of teaser looking ahead here for you. First, let's talk about the severe weather currently taking place though across the Midwest. Some heavy snowfall actually there even behind it across Ontario over there towards Quebec. And then you have, of course, the severe weather. Even this morning had a tornado warning in eastern Texas over towards Louisiana. That setup still rolling off into that direction here off towards the east. Now, by the time this makes its way closer to the first coast, it is going to lose a lot of its punch here. So I don't anticipate like severe weather around the Jacksonville area, but still going to have that rain. Meanwhile, back towards north, we had some pretty decent severe weather overnight. That is still rolling off towards the east. That's a severe thunderstorm warning there just south of Cleveland. But the worst of the weather was just south of Chicago. And if you watch Weather Impact Live yesterday at this time, this is the exact area we were talking about for the risk of some damaging weather, and not only damaging but the potential for nocturnal tornadoes. And I'll show you some video of, how about let's go to some hail video we have, some of the storm damage when this was taking place out of this area. Some strong storms taking place. Look at that. That's just hail piling right up. And then of course, besides that, we also had some large tornadoes reported in the area. And I'll show you some video of the actual tornadoes out of this, or not assuming the tornadoes, but the tornado damage. Some aerial footage after the fact from one of these out of Connecticut, Illinois, where in Pontiac, Illinois, two deaths were reported from this specific tornado. A local Dollar Tree absolutely demolished there. Some people were trapped inside. One storm, in fact, produced a series of a family of tornadoes. There was four spun up in one supercell. Now we don't have the official EF rating just yet. Unlike what the movies say, you don't look at a tornado and you go, "Oh, that's the EF4." No, it happens after the fact. The National Weather Service will go out there, and this happens even Jacksonville. Anytime we have a tornado in the area, like the day of or the day after, the National Weather Service will go out and estimate the damage caused by this and find what the worst of the damage was, and that gives the tornadoes its EF rating based solely on the aerial footage here. You have stuff screwed apart. You have what looks like some cars kind of moved around there. I would say this specific footage we're seeing right here is probably closer to an EF2 or an EF1. I know it looks like a lot, and you're probably thinking, oh, this goes up to F5. F5 just basically scours the ground. Like you have buildings here that are still kind of standing, even though they're ripped apart. Like yesterday, we were showing video of an EF4, and that was basically leveled out buildings. So this is still some serious damage, though, and it's not only just the broad average of the damage that gets that rating; it's the absolute worst part of it that kind of peaks out with the rating of these. But serious stuff. And the other big issue is that a lot of this took place over night, or at least after dark. People might be sleeping, and I think it surprises people sometimes, even later on into the evening. It can still surprise people because people often picture tornadoes and severe weather to be during the peak of daytime heating, which more than often, especially here on the first coast, they are. But in this area, not so much the case here. So, yeah, severe stuff. All right. Wow. So with that said, enough of my rambling. I do want to toss it to Maggie Vespa. She's was out here in Conagate, Illinois, and has a report on the ground from one of these areas of some of the damage that took place with this storm.
Hey there, the damage here this morning is just jaw dropping. I mean, look over my shoulder here. This home, these homes, plural, torn to shreds. You can see that home's cinder block foundation, the rest of it in pieces, and it's widespread. Look across the road over here, more homes off in the distance, again, with severe damage. Authorities here reporting 9 injuries, most of them minor, they say, here in Illinois, but just across the state border in Indiana, they're talking about several, in their word, injuries, as well as 2 fatalities. The Newton County coroner confirming an elderly couple, who they're not naming at this time, was killed in these tornadoes overnight. We're also seeing reports of massive hail from Texas up through Indiana, at times baseball sized or potentially larger. We're going to confirm that at this hour, and 10 reported tornadoes across those states touching down overnight. And again, this is a widespread area, and now we have authorities really across multiple states asking people to stay off the roads in the wake of this, to try to assess damage like this, to get to reports of people who are injured, to help them hopefully in time, and in a lot of cases, including here, to try and restore power. You can see power poles down and damaged behind me. That's part of why we're staying back, and the road is closed on the other side of this scene. Again, it's just a widespread trail of damage across multiple states in the wake of this latest severe weather outbreak. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Maggie, for that. Incredible, incredible stuff out here, and it is remarkable to get that on the ground kind of look of what's happening here, and just some of the videos and from the different storm chasers that sent stuff in. Absolutely incredible, and those guys get out there and just to document this severe weather. And we always do appreciate it. All right, let's come back to our graphics here. So, what about the future? What about what's happening today? Well, we do have still the severe weather is not over yet. In fact, there continues to be a level 2 slight chance of some strong severe storms from DC out towards Ohio, down through Kentucky, Tennessee, Dixie Alley, Mississippi, Alabama, from that severe weather further towards the south, and yes, out towards the Florida Panhandle. We could even see some of these storms set up here, and we'll even see this move towards the east heading into Thursday. But the severe weather threat backs off. It's more about just rain and maybe some thunderstorms, and that's going to be for the Jacksonville and First Coast area. And then eventually, maybe even South Florida could be looking at some showers from this as we go ahead into Friday as well. So this storm system just chugging right along here. Let's zoom right in on the southeast specifically. And this is throughout the Wednesday night and the Thursday morning, another nocturnal type event. So, for our friends across parts of Alabama and Mississippi, this is going to be an overnight storm with the potential of some severe thunderstorms kind of kicking up on there, and maybe even a very low risk, but a risk nonetheless, of tornadoes. And then as we go ahead into Thursday morning, it does start to lose a little bit of its punch. And you can see that here with this specific Futurecast model. This is our high resolution in-house model. It kind of shows the breaks in the line here, and you can see those breaks become a little bit more apparent as we go ahead through midday on Thursday. But there is still a line about lunchtime, heading to about 12 to 3 o'clock over the Jacksonville area. The Players is going to be going on here, big tournament here in Jacksonville, of course, for some golf. And there's that potential for some there's some storms coming through that area. Of course, it almost feels like every year we have some storms in the area. The sirens go off just in case there's some lightning, and then they do have to postpone it, and of course the rain as well. But even if it's not raining, if there's lightning even remotely in the area, they would postpone it. And that's the general rule for anybody, not only here on the First Coast. If you hear thunder, head indoors, right? Thunder roars, head indoors is the cliche term for it. But you can see here with our helicity index, so this is a significant tornado parameter actually. Just kind of showing you those areas in grays do say, a brief tornado is possible as this moves towards the east overnight, and then eventually could even come closer to the first coast. But you see kind of like that starts to break and fade apart closer to the Jacksonville area. Higher threat is definitely going to be further off towards the east here. And then we take a look at our jet stream, a negatively tilted trough. So still very potent here today. And what I mean by that, it's basically kind of going from the northwest towards the southeast with that big dip there over New England and a lot of upward vertical motion that moves off towards the east, and we get another kind of trough setting up by Sunday into Monday. You can see that coming out of Canada. That is going to be another weather maker for some of the northern states. So it's that time of year where you get some severe weather, you get a little bit of a break. You see that next trough setting up here by Sunday and the Monday. That actually could bring a little bit of a cold spell closer to the Jacksonville area as it pulls in cooler air out of Canada. Something to watch out for. For today, though, let's enough about the severe weather towards the north. Let's talk more about the first coast in the Jacksonville area. Another hot day already taking place out there. Yesterday, we got up to 91 degrees. Today, already into the 80s. Maybe by the time you're watching this, as we watch our second stream right around 3 o'clock, it will already be up into the 90s here. There is a little bit of a sea breeze out near the coast, so for some of those practice rounds here midday, there could be a little bit of a slice, or maybe you might be hooking it a little bit, especially there on the 17th green with that easterly wind kind of setting up. But that will be different than tomorrow, where there will be more of a southerly wind kind of picking up out there. And you can see right here, this is for our Thursday, a southwesterly breeze at TPC Sawgrass for the players is going to be up to about 20 to 15 miles per hour by the afternoon with the chance of some showers. So obviously you're not going to be playing if it's raining, but maybe just prior to that rain, those winds are going to kick up out of the south. And that could be interesting how that could impact some of the rounds out there. So yeah, a little bit of messy Gulf weather in the forecast here. Here's our forecast for Wednesday afternoon, though, into the 90s. Taking a look at Jacksonville, of course, here comes that front I was just talking about with the severe weather back towards the north. That's going to kick through once again through midday. You see that Futurecast kind of kicking that right on by. Watch this as well as we go ahead to Thursday night into Friday. Friday morning, 40s. Now, at TPC Sawgrass, it won't be quite that cold, 59, a little bit more of a modifying effect on the ocean. But further towards the west, if you're out in the Georgia, Lake City, you're going to be into the 40s. So I hope you didn't put away those jackets despite the heat we've had the last few days. It's going to get much cooler out there with this cold air kind of spilling in from the north. And then you can actually see that here for the high on Friday. It goes from, today into the 90s. Friday, it'll be around 72, 73 on Saturday. A little bit of a rebound by the end of the weekend, but we also do have another chance of rainfall by Sunday sneaking in here towards the first coast. So, yeah, there's a lot to talk about here with this, and it has been absolutely messy to see. Oh, excuse me. Siri, just start talking to me. Messy to say the least, especially towards the north, and even heading into Thursday, we got that line of rainfall moving on through. I got some other stuff to talk about, though. I want to talk about something that probably the longest day of my career, which was March 11th, 2011. I'll explain why, and then we'll talk a little bit of a historical context for the first coast coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, let's go to a little bit of a break, put a little breather between this and something completely different coming up in just a minute.
That is the Protector.
This truck is a beast.
It's got all the tools on it. I love how big the tires are.
And this is going to be able to show you the weather around the first coast like you've never seen it before.
The Protector really is going to help protect the community.
So you can see what it looks like on the ground. And that allows folks to really take action and do something about it.
And it gives us that edge in continuing to be the most accurate weather team.
Sponsored by HananiaAutos.com.
I'm Keitha Nelson, Good Morning Jacksonville anchor and mom of twins, Journey and Trey. I'm on your side, getting you out the door and off to a great start. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News, weekdays from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
First Coast Living Live.
Bringing you closer to the tastiest food.
The best shopping.
And family fun.
Jordan Wilkerson and David Benfield. First Coast Living Live. Weekdays at 11 a.m. only on NBC 12.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
The First Coast News weather team is here to deliver your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather and up-to-the-minute information on First Coast News Plus.
The wave of moisture rolls its way on in here.
Our team is the most equipped and experienced to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
All right, so you're probably looking at this going, whoa, what is that? Today, March 11th, 2026, is the 15-year anniversary of March 11th, 2011. And I know here on the First Coast, it may not seem like a date that's very significant to a lot of people, unless maybe you were in the Navy in Japan in the 2010s. I was serving the 3-star out there, the Admiral. My job was to make sure ships were safe. And then the year after this happened, I actually got a job on NHK World, which was very famous and won several Emmys for the broadcast of this very large earthquake, a 9.0, and the following tsunami that cascaded a wave across the Pacific Ocean. 20,000 deaths occurred from this. Personally, I was out to sea when this happened. My family was living only a couple hundred feet away from the ocean there, right along Tokyo Bay. And yeah, that's one of my son's first memories, actually. They were impacted, violent shaking from this earthquake here. And I just want to talk about it because this is one of those things like, just absolutely incredible. Max wave from this, and you got to put this in perspective, 133 feet in Iwate Prefecture. This is in northeastern Honshu. Average up and down the coast was 20 to 30 feet. Just widespread damage. And like I said, 20,000 deaths from it. But of course, it wasn't just the earthquake and the tsunami, which just alone, but then we also had the meltdown of Fukushima Daiichi, was the nuclear reactor in Fukushima Prefecture that cascaded the radiation fallout. From a personal standpoint, and just to share a story with all of you here, my job was to, of course, when this was taking place, track the tsunami wave, and you can track these. They move the fast as a jet stream, an airline jet, but they are predictable when they will arrive after the earthquake took place. And I had to let captains know when they had to be sorted by out of places like Sasebo and Guam and just any ships in port across the Pacific Ocean. That was probably one of the longest days of my life, I'll tell you. And at the same time, my family, a wife and son, were continuing the experience aftershocks and were basically hiding on top of a hill as the tsunami was taking place around them. Oh, absolutely incredible. And it didn't end here. Of course, with the radiation fallout, and this is a map of some of the radiation fallout, but Operation Tomodachi, which was the United States Navy's operation. Tomodachi means friend in Japanese, so it's Operation Friend. We were there to provide relief, and we had several aircraft carriers and destroyers just off the East Coast. When the Fukushima Daiichi melted down, radiation kicked out, and it actually impacted some of our ships just offshore. So my job as a forecaster was to plot and forecast radiation fallout, which is something that we don't really train for, but as meteorologists, we always got to be ready for everything. And it is myself plus only a few other people that I was working with on the team that are some of the only active meteorologists around today that have forecasted radiation fallout and in a active scenario. Last time you have to go all the way back to like Chernobyl or nuclear testing back in like the 50s. So that is something to have on a resume, and it was all part of a very tragic and historic setup here. And March 11th, 2011 is always a day that will live personally in my memory. With that said, I live on the East Coast now. We live on the First Coast here. And I want to talk about, you might be thinking, okay, so do we ever get something like that here? Well, if you go back to August 4th, 1946, there was an 8.1 magnitude earthquake in the Dominican Republic. Now, that alone caused some serious damage, but there was a tsunami that took place as well right after that. And actually, it caused a 13 to 16 foot high wave across parts of the Dominican Republic and even over towards Puerto Rico there. Estimated 1,600 to 1,800 fatalities across the Caribbean. But see the last note there, a wave was reported from a tidal gauge as far north as Florida and into the Daytona area. Brevard County actually reported a tsunami. Now, was it a destructive one like you've seen there in Japan or in the Dominican Republic? By no means, no. But there was water level changes, a strong current. I'm sure some boats got knocked around and things like that. Could have it been further towards north into like the Mayport area? Possibly, but at that time, the Mayport Naval Base was just being set up, and I don't know if they had accurate readings at that point of what was happening. But it wasn't a damaging tsunami. But still, the point is they can take place, especially with the Puerto Rican the trench out there just off of the Hispaniola. There's a large trench. Sometimes you get some of these strike slip faults that do produce a large wave and thus can result. And one thing with the Dominican Republic tsunami is that a lot of people think that not so much a volcanic eruption here, but there was a avalanche or a mudslide that took place here, resulting in some extra kind of oomph with a tsunami. So it's pretty incredible stuff. If you look at in the broader picture of things here, of course, we're always talking about weather here at First Coast News, but I always like to look back at a little historical context. And not only 15 years ago, but if you go back to, August 4th, 1946, we even had one here. Kind of interesting, if you ever go out to Mayport, they have tsunami evacuation routes. I was here and actually helped set up in 2007. It's amazing how my tectonic career has lasted. I helped set up some of those signs that you see out there at Mayport Naval Station in 2007 when I was stationed there. Mayport became one of the first beaches on the East Coast that was tsunami ready, and we actually referenced the 1946 Dominican Republic earthquake while setting some of that up. Anyways, with that said, back to the weather. All right, so I hope you learned something here today. That's what these streaming services are all about, right? FCN Plus. I just try to teach you a little bit, especially if you're watching me talk here for this long. Let's talk about the weather forecast, though, with that 91 degrees. Ooh, it is going to be hot here again on our Wednesday. Yesterday, we got up to the first 90-degree day of 2026. Today, could we get there again? Well, potentially. I think that it is definitely going to be still hot out there. We're already looking at I think the record for today is also 89 degrees. So definitely on the hot side here with that record heat still in the forecast. Looking ahead here, you see that futurecast still as we go ahead into Thursday. So it won't be quite as hot. Once again, coming back to that rain, we have a weather impact alert in place due to those scattered showers moving their way across the First Coast midday. And then it'll eventually move off towards the east. That impact alert is primarily because midday it is going to hinder your plans. Do we have severe weather in the forecast? No. If you head out to the players for the kind of opening rounds out there, actually the practice rounds on our Thursday, you could have some impacts, to say the least. There's going to be the rain. It's going to be causing a little bit of delays. But good news as we go ahead into your Friday, things are going to be drying out pretty nicely. So midday showers here, but by the first round of the players here, you're going to be looking at 75 with only rain chances at like 10%, 20% on Saturday. The next kind of increase in rainfall will be on Sunday. where we have that front that's going to kind of be towards our south and lift off back towards the north just ever so slightly. So, yeah, tomorrow's really kind of the big day for the rainfall, and then it dries out nicely Friday and Saturday, which is actually gameplay out there at the Players, where a lot of people are going to be adventuring. Saturday by far will be the best day. Mid to high 70s, great weather, mostly sunny skies. I mean, you got to get out there. You got to enjoy it because it's going to be some nice conditions here in that extended forecast. Do want to also note that next Tuesday, so remember I was looking at the jet stream a little while back here, and I'll actually scroll back to it. We have like this big dip in the jet stream here, and you watch this as we go ahead into well, we'll scroll this Saturday, Sunday, Monday over towards Tuesday. You can see this big dip in the jet stream right there, right? That is behind another low that's going to move on through that is ushering in so much cooler air across the southeast, which brings our low by Tuesday down to 42. Now, I don't think we're going to get down to the freezing point, but maybe some places across southeast Georgia, which yesterday on average would have been the last freeze for Waycross, Georgia. The latest, though, ever in Waycross was April 17th. So could we get another blast of cold air for some of us? I mean, historically speaking, it's possible, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. Jacksonville would be a little unusual, but April 8th is the latest freeze we ever had here in Jacksonville. So it's definitely still possible. I think less likely, though, than further towards the north, especially after all this heat we've got. We have the earliest 90-degree day on average, then we got a freeze. Talk about swings. That is March, and that is the type of weather you see around here this time of year. Of course, though, for now, it is another hot day here in Jacksonville on the First Coast, with tomorrow that rainfall moving on through. A lot to cover today, and I hope that you found it kind of interesting. I try to put a little structure to these streams, 30 minutes long talking by myself, but I try my best to inform you and educate, and that's the whole goal here. You can get your kind of local weather forecast anywhere, and you can get it on our app at the First Coast News app if you want. But if you sit here and watch a 30-minute stream, you probably want to learn a little bit. So let me hear. If you're on any of our social media platforms, let me know what you find interesting about it. And if you have any questions, maybe heading into some of the next streams over the next few days. As always, though, I am meteorologist Robert Speta. Thanks for stopping by, and yeah, continue to stay weather aware.